How many of you have been using IoT-based smart solutions at home? Many times, a product from a vendor doesn't go along with another. In today's world of IoT, we are literally living in a walled garden. We're going to explore some options to make this walled garden to an open ecosystem using the power of web. Yes, you heard it right. IoT using open web standards. Before we get in, let me show you a trailer on what's in there for you. Great. So one of my friend who is a founder of an IoT startup told me IoT is the most complex way to switch on a light bulb. We right now want everything to be smart, understand our preference, and act accordingly. We need a thing in everything. So if we start looking at the IoT landscape based upon the computational power and their complexity, on the left-hand side, you see a QR code, NFC, RFID tag, which has zero power into it. On the other end, we have smart cities and smart buildings, which requires a high level of a computational power and the complexity. The Internet of Things are driven by the combination of below three factors: sensors, connectivity, process, and people. Sensors, I don't want to go in depth into it. You have multiple sensors. Many would have been seen starting from your optical, ambient, proximity, motion. And at the other end of the connectivity, you'll see from the power line Ethernet printed sections to the most advanced Zigbee LTE-based systems, and how these systems are being connected together using your home personal area network to a wide area network around the world. And how we're going to bring this across with the peoples and the process. These networked inputs can be combined into bidirectional systems that integrates data, people, process for better decision making, like in fintech, or it could be on the supply chain management. The interaction between these entities creates different type of value propositions. Yes. So let's take an example of a smart hotel. We are going to build it using an IoT. So these are the requirements. From a guest perspective, the person needs to play his music, control his temperature, room temperature, control lights, watch movies, book a tennis court, set an alarm. And at the same time, from the requirement from a hotel owner is to turn on off the light based upon the occupancy in the room, control security systems, which takes autonomous decisions based upon danger situations, optimize room cleaning services, and manage room services like Wi-Fi and TV, and enable and disable the guest access. If I want to build this in a smart hotel and IoT implementation today, there are n number of vendors supporting n number of implementations into it, and there has always been interconnectivity issues, starting from the few, say like a smart bulb, which works as using a Zigbee, and few are working using a Bluetooth, and connecting all together is becoming a major problem. And the interfaces to these IoT devices lies in a different walled garden, from Alexa to Google to Apple WebKit. An implementation done in Amazon Alexa cannot be used directly in the Google Home. Let's consider you have built a solution of a custom tailored implementation. That's going to be a Jenga tower of robustness. No common communication protocol would be there. Complex to integrate with multiple devices. And most importantly, no single manufacturer supports all the IoT needs, even for our simple smart hotel implementation. If there is a slight firmware update in any of these IoT devices, it's become super buggy and it is very nightmarish to maintain. That's where it would be wonderful if you have a device, if you have any of the device could be easily integrated or consumed by any application, regardless of the networking protocol. This is what Web of Things does. Let's see what is the difference between web versus and web of thing. So what web did to internet like few decades of years back, that's what web of thing is going to do. On the encoding and the transportation layer, this web of thing is going to play around an abstraction which helps to connect multiple things much easily. So you will see, you in a web, actually you can divide into more factors, like four factors, like social web, real-time web, semantic web, and programmable web. All these three things, four things, are going to get again going to converge in the web of things. So let's take an example like how web of things came into practice, which focuses on the social web. So some year back, Ericsson wanted to build a concept video by which, using a social medium, a person can able to chat with this internet of things at home and control most of the actions. Enough talking, let's see that. This concept video lay foundation to what we are experiencing on the web of things. When W3C defined it, it's going to be it's going to web of thing going to improve the interoperability as well as the usability across Internet of Things. If you see the what is a web of thing architecture in the current world, on the left hand side you will see thin web clients like mobile web app or a web browser based one, or even could be another IoT thing. In the center you will be having something called a gateways, which handles as an abstraction layer to this non-web devices, which uses protocols like Bluetooth and Zigbee. So one such implementation is basically is from Mozilla's Web Things framework, which basically helps you to control any of your IoT devices easily, and you can handle all the use cases into it. So let's see an example using a web browser, how you can able to handle multiple devices here. So in this implementation, the implementation uses ESP8266 as a microcontroller and Mozilla IoT as a gateway. So there are multiple relays are being there, light, temperatures, and relay. If you see it from the browser, the person can able to operate, enable things using the web browser, all using a JavaScript. It can able to control the ambient light, temperature sensors, and understand and change things accordingly. If you see, this will be using a microprocessor in between next to the Mozilla gateway. We'll talk about in detail in the further slides. Similarly, there is another implementation which connects your physical world to an extended reality world, which uses an A-frame as an implementation. Depending upon the color you choose in the sensor, the blocks changes. For example, the green color changed into the red color block. Right now, you send the blue color one changes into the blue color one on the virtual world. So the connectivity, this sort of things gives us a lot of options to, or an implementation and usage across things into it. Yeah. So right now, for any implementation, we really need a microcontroller in between. So W3C thought about it and thought like, let's build up a completely building block which prevents the need for the microcontroller. They call it servient. The servient is the basic building block for it. How servient is going to be? The servient can be is part of your web browser, which will be handling most of our server as well as the client implementation. But at the same time, it's going to be part of your IoT implementation as well. On your IoT device, this servient implementation works as a gateway to connect with your browser and talk to it, and that gives an abstraction from JavaScript to play along with that. Many of the IoT vendors are being very much interested to implement it, as this opens a lot of possibilities. Okay, where do we start as a developer? So these are the two folks from W3C and Mozilla are the largest open source contributors for the WoT. And Web of Things can be programmed using Node.js, Python, Java, Rust, and MicroPython. And there are many third-party libraries are being there. There are few open source projects are there, includes WT.js, WebOfThing.js, which helps you to directly connect with your Raspberry Pi or your Arduino, and you can able to do a lot of things using simple JavaScript and Node.js. Future is indeed very bright. With this, we're going to unblock a lot of possibilities. And again, Internet of Everything is for everyone, anywhere, anytime. But as a developers, we have to keep it humanly sustainable, else the future is not long back for this. Yeah. With this, thank you, and I'm open for questions and available in the networking log for any further connects.
Thank you, Selva, for your session. Thank you. It was really insightful.